So the question comes up. You have the access to all the slides. Question comes up, right? Hey, is Nile too unique, too different? And how do we is it exotic? So is when you move from physical server to the cloud. So is when you move from the application running on your servers to the SaaS applications. But is it really cutting edge? Is it a bleeding edge? That question comes up. And the answer is it's proven and it works. It's stable. It's been years working in smaller deployments to 20 employees all the way to 200,000 employees across all different verticals. As I said, we have customers that have been using it for 3 years, not even a single call from the customers. And we are across the geos, right, 24/7, without necessarily having the people monitoring the network and leveraging the AI to deliver the always-on guaranteed service, and that is secured. With that, I'm going to invite Drew Geyer, and they're working on a pretty cool stuff, and he's going to come in and talk about why, what do they do, and what is the problem they're trying to solve, and more importantly, why did they choose Nile, and answer your questions associated with it.
Yeah, so thanks for having me here. I'm Drew Geyer, and I am head of IT and cybersecurity at JetZero. And what JetZero is doing is looking to reshape aviation. And we're taking the shape of our plane. As you can see, it's an all-wing design, and it allows you to go from any point on Earth to any point on Earth with a full payload and burning half the fuel. We also have the capability to do hydrogen conversion, which would allow us to go to zero emissions, where the output would just be pure molecular H2O, thus the name JetZero. So when I first met Suresh, we were here in the hangar. And as you can see, this is a very large space. This particular hangar is 80,000 square feet. We have 380,000 square feet on our campus with 16 acres. We need cameras that have Wi-Fi connectivity all over the 16 acres. We need solid internet connection wherever we go. And JetZero's mission is to reshape aviation, but the technology team, our mission is to transform the aviation industry to develop JetZero into an AI powerhouse. So we were looking to use and leverage AI capabilities wherever possible. So being a very technology-driven company, we get asked all the time, how is JetZero going to build this plane? And the response that I have is when Airbus did it in 1970, there was a smoke room, a room full of paper with everybody smoking and no fax machine. So imagine what you could do today with new technology. And that's one of the things I really like about Nile is there's no legacy baggage, right? So this is not a switch that was developed on something back in the early 80s that's just been iterated. This is a clean sheet design that Nile's brought to us with new capabilities. Now, the reason why I reached out to Nile was because there was an internal joke at JetZero about our hangar, which is called airplane mode. So when you get onto the airplane, first thing you do is you turn off your Wi-Fi and you go into airplane mode. We had very bad connection. So you can imagine the CEO talking to investors, talking to potential customers, and yeah. So not a good impression, right? Especially for a company that's looking to be technology driven and AI focused. So that happened, and we had really good partners. All the certifications. I don't want to downplay any of the other logos out there, but we were using what would be recognized as one of the top 3 logos of network and one of the top tier providers. And they responded. Like as soon as we had an issue, the legacy technology vendor, they responded and they sent in a Tiger team and walked all over and tried to get us going. And it was going for a little bit. And then all of a sudden we went back into airplane mode. And the CEO says, Drew, I love you, but I got to be able to do my job. So the team came back and we were working for a little while, and then we went back to airplane mode. So then when I got a hold of Nile, and Suresh and the team came on site, it definitely sounded like this is so amazing that if I even get half of what I'm hearing, I'm going to be in heaven. And I can tell you that everything that I was told was completely implemented. And you know how they say like the force is strong with this one? The voice of the customer is strong with Nile. We've given feedback. All the feedback was received, and there was things that we were thinking about asking. And even before we went to presenting the request, it's like Nile had already provided the upgrade or provided the new capability. So yeah, JetZero is definitely growing. We're looking to break ground on the largest manufacturing facility ever built on Earth. And it's going to be here in the United States. It's going to be in North Carolina. And we're looking to build a plane a day at that factory. We've received orders from and investments from Alaska, Delta, and United. United had recently come out with a 200 plane order. The great news about our product is because of the fuel efficiency, the airlines are going to be able to save $1 million a month for every plane that they purchase. Now, if the plane has if you buy an RV or a boat, you can buy it on a 30-year term. Planes are no different. So if you're saving $1 million a month, it's a $360 million savings. So if the plane was, whatever number it is, if it was 250 or 300 million per plane, you're still getting the plane at a zero cost with $60 million in your pocket. So United did a 200 plane order, so you can do the math on what that would mean when and if delivered to JetZero's bottom line. And we intend to expand and grow and put all of our network into Nile because of the dynamic results that we've had and the responsiveness that Nile has provided us. So, Suresh, is there anything else that I could expand on?
So let's open it up for the Q&A with the delegates here, to the customers or to us. We have 5 more minutes.
What kind of square footage at the facility are you talking about here?
This one is 380,000. We have 3 hangars here. 80,000 is office space, 300,000 is hangar space. The facility that is going to be building the largest factory on Earth will be a 5.5 million square foot facility, which right now Boeing Everett's the largest, and they're 4.4. By square foot on ground, Tesla Gigafactory is 10.1, but we're going to have more volume cubic space due to the height.
So it didn't look like there were directional models, AP models that are currently part of the portfolio. How is that working with the Omnis in a large warehouse or factory space that's typically been somewhere where we've had to use directionals?
So good question. All the omnidirectional APs inherently, they're built with the mounted, that's the industry standard for design. So up to a certain height, those APs have been working just fine. And we've been taking some calculated risks.
Uncalculated.
Sorry, Drew.
Like, hey, we understand that Omnis are not the best for certain open spaces and high ceiling environments. But as Shiv alluded to earlier, we are building a directional antenna AP, and it's in progress. We are hoping to have that late this year, early next year. And that would be a pretty decent beam width directional AP that will help us go into all of these environments.
One thing I'd like to let Drew answer the question on how is it working. Drew, talk about how your team works competing with each other on the bandwidth. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so it's working flawlessly. The only time that I've needed to reach out to Nile is to add more switches and have their support for adding more to the network. We did have some pushback internally going with Nile from the current network engineers because they saw a space where I'm relied on to maintain and fix these issues. And if I'm not logging in or not fixing issues, then what am I doing? And my response to this group was, look, the future is coming. So you can either adapt or stay fixing issues, because when Nile gets everywhere, there's going to be a world where AI is fixing the issues and you're not. So we've started to repurpose those individuals to be more SecOps engineers or network security analysts. And we have a lot more happening with network security, red teams, and doing much more to plan for an eventual type of a cyber attack. Because now that these network engineers are literally have no issues to fix, they're adding much more value to JetZero to strengthen our security and operations. And they've been repurposed. And we're even doing things in innovation where I have them working on like quantum networks. So the DOE has a quantum network. We're going to have DARPA because we're doing the next gen aerial refueling station with the Air Force. We're going to be providing tankers. We're building the airframe. Northrop Grumman's putting on the boom that does the aerial refueling system. So for that reason, we're going to have DARPA and have the secret internet protocol. So we're going to be doing things. So the engineers are just super happy. Now they don't have to be under the gun to resolve an issue. Instead, they're thinking big, and they're in the strategy, and they're growing their skill set into areas where they're going to be much more valuable to JetZero for the future.
I have a question for you, Drew. You mentioned airplane mode. Are you running Wi-Fi calling now over the Nile Wi-Fi? Is that how you fixed the airplane issue?
That's not how we fixed the airplane issue. Airplane mode was an internal joke where once you came into the hangar, you lost the internet access. So they were going to make little T-shirts for the IT team that had JetZero airplane mode. That's not a good brand for IT. So Nile completely made that whole thing go away, and airplane mode T-shirt was never made. So I'm grateful for that. But we're not using Wi-Fi calling.
Drew,
but that's something we would be.
Hey, Drew, I have
Please.
a quick question for you, which is that, I think in an organization, after you guys had trouble after trouble after trouble with manufacturers and the architecture, how did you convince your stakeholders to kind of take a little bit of a gamble on a organization that's not as well known and not in the Gartner Magic Quadrant?
Well, that was Nile really helped with that, because one of the things that they did was they provided a very clear ROI. They provided very clear commitments to JetZero, so that the situation is, what's the risk of trying it? Because we're going to maintain our current network, and then we're going to bring in a network over the top on a 90-day trial. If we love it, we keep it. If not, they're going to take it away. So
Okay.
Nile completely de-risked the scenario.
Thank you, Drew. Thanks a lot for your time, and thank you for being a great customer and an advocate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for changing my world, and I'm very grateful to you.
Thank you.